Welcome everyone, this is Fine Needles and you're listening to Lotro Players News, where we take a look at latest news on Lotro and here at Lotro Players. And this week we have with us Terry Edwin,
Hi.
Senswinda,
Hello.
and Krister.
Hello.
Hello everyone. And looks like we've got a busy week to go through this week, so let's begin with update 31.1.2. Which included, first of all, newly acquired Wayfarers, Travelers, and Adventurers loot box gear will now bind to account rather than bind to character.
Oh, the loot box gear. I'm sorry. I thought it said the loot boxes themselves were binding to account. I was like, when did they start binding loot boxes? That made no sense.
Okay. No, it's the gear from...
I missed a word.
Just a word there. All right. Then... also, the benefits of the Restless Dwarf Lord's Shimmering Stud and Shimmering Stud of Puglok's Den have been adjusted slightly to make them more focused on healing for captains and Bjornings. Critical defense has been replaced as a stat on the following items, and then they give several items that I'm not going to go through right now.
Replaced with what?
They replaced the critical defense has been replaced. I think they meant with something more focused to healing, so probably something that helps with healing, I guess.
I mean, outgoing.
Okay.
Probably outgoing healing sounds like the most likely item, but it might depend on which one exactly. And quests and adventure areas for the Fate of Gundabad. Azhak Zahar, the House's Arrest. The Tier 3 Leading the Charge deed is now active and available until 3 a.m. server time on March 2nd, 2022. Health has been reduced for both Loknashra and Vethug. Yay! Vethug now uses skills correctly. Loknashra's Blizzard's cast time is now slower on lower difficulties. Thank you. Several damage over time effects were hitting with more than expected across the instance, so we have reduced the damage to these effects to... thank you! Some skill damage has been reduced. Area of effect damage has been increased. Darkness Consumes now has a limited area of effect and does less damage, and a House's Arrest reward vendor overseer has been added to Zadir Nersad, the Steepstead. Now, all I can say about all of this is that I did run this over the week after the patch, and I was able to complete the instance, and prior to that, I was not able to get past the first boss, no matter what I tried to do.
Excellent.
And that was at Tier 1 Solo, where I was talking about on there. So therefore, yes, getting through in Tier 1 Solo is easier than it was prior to this point. Now, I don't know if anyone else has done that instance. Krister?
Yes, I have. Yep.
Okay.
Not solo, though.
No, have you done it since then, before, or after?
Oh, no.
Both?
I apologize. I haven't done it since the changes yet.
Okay.
But that is on the list.
All right, then. Then, Assault on Thurstrok and Cyan buffs have been removed from enemies in the Thurstrok boss fights. All right. Not sure what those were, but maybe that is what was making some of the fights a little bit deadly. And the Legacy of Durin and the Trials of the Dwarves fix an issue where a dwarf in Chapter 11.5 could fall through the floor.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't like dwarves, I think it's a solution.
It must have been Hremel's fault then.
Yes, probably. Blame the dragon when in doubt.
Yes, the dragon when in doubt. Veils of Anduin. The Veils of Anduin has been erroneously set to a higher level break than they should have been for the access on Honor, this area is now in line with the Ironfold and Grey Mountains. I have a feeling that that was being flagged as flood fells, I guess, is the only thing I could think of, which would be a bit of a problem, seeing that the Vales of Anduin is active content now for Honor.
Yeah.
And as for miscellaneous corrected, some German and French text. Now, somehow in all of this, there was an issue introduced with session plays, where session play bleeds, or maybe some other types of damage also, but it was mainly I heard the complaint on concerning bleeds, were doing much too much damage.
Oops.
And as a result, people are trying to run, we cannot get out, we're unable to complete it. There could be other session plays also that if they involved any bleeds, that could have also been a problem. They're planning to fix that in a patch next week. I don't think there's supposed to be too much in that patch, but they got to fix the session play thing, so they are scheduling an update. As for... So let's then head into Bulwer, which is a Bulwer for this is Bulwer Update 32, beta number 3. And there are, as far as I can tell, 3 different items here, sections here in relating to this. One of them is, of course, the next iteration of neighborhood housing updates that they're doing in there. And the only one that I noticed that was particularly interesting to me on here was that they have, let's see, what were they talking about this, is that they've updated it so that there's some new items for Cape of Belfalis and Rohan housing, where now they will support the Dave files and music hooks and for the exterior, and also multiple music hooks for both Rohan housing and Cape of Belfalis housing. So these features that were planned for Erebor are also going to be introduced into there. And the second class of items that I was noticing is it looks like that some of the updates that they were having for the that I just mentioned were also being introduced into the Bulwer build. And finally, the third class of changes was a proposed change that they were planning for Embers that received such, let's just say, such strong feedback that Standing Stone Games has decided to postpone that proposed change. And
indefinitely, from what I understand.
yeah, indefinitely. Yes, they decided to postpone it indefinitely, and perhaps to work on it a little bit more before they make a new stab at making any changes in that section.
I think it was wise of them. I'm glad they're doing it.
Yeah. And right, so that is the latest round on Bulwer, and that, of course, is what's proposed for Update 30. Now, they are planning another Bulwer next week, and they hope this time they will finally get the first attempt at the reward system into there. But I think I said that last week also, so I'm not going to hold my breath on the matter.
They did mention it during what little I saw of Cord's stream yesterday.
Yes, I think he mentioned in the stream for the week before. That's why that's why I'm hoping that this time that they're right. We'll hope. So we'll go over that next week, assuming it's in there.
Possible first look at the raid too. Yeah,
possible first look at the raid, which is going to be.
I think they can have the first boss visible, is what they were saying.
Yes.
Yay!
So who will be the first boss? I think well, I guess we'll find out.
I'm guessing Giant Frodo.
I don't think so.
How about Mega Frodo?
Anyway, how tall would Giant Frodo be? Boromir size?
Oh, I'm thinking at least 4 meters. It's got to be like Honey, I what was that? Honey, I Grew the Baby, or whatever that movie was.
Blew up.
Honey,
up.
I blew
Honey, I
up.
Blew Up the Baby. That's right.
Yeah, okay. Honey, I blew up the baby. Or I blew up the Hobbit. Yes.
Gandalf has to get into some silly experiments, so you can. It's like, whoops, sorry, Frodo.
Yes. Well, I don't think that would be our first boss. Something tells me. I mean, I could make a pretty good guess of who the last boss will be, but because someone that I'm sure that a lot of people will want to kill by this time.
You know, I don't know because the way, not Cordovan, the producer guy, is it Renennial?
Yeah.
The way he was talking, he was cagey about Hrimmel's involvement, is how he put it. So I don't actually know if Hrimmel will be the end boss, or if we will find out that there's something else going on.
I can't think of any other way we could resolve
I
the end of the
don't
story
know,
without
but I'm
Hrimmel in the
telling you,
raid.
when I was listening to him talk about it, it made me think that maybe Hrimmel isn't going to be the end boss,
Oh, you
which
mean that
I thought was very interesting.
you mean that Hrimmel will be an intermediary boss?
I don't know.
I guess we won't find that out next week, though, because they're only going to have the first boss in there, I think is what you said.
Well, yeah, that's what they think, because they're still working on it.
Yeah, most likely.
I mean, I could be wrong, and it could just be he was trying to make it vague sounding so that we would all think that we don't know what's going on and that Hrimmel is not. And then, of course, Hrimmel ends up being the end boss, and we all are proved right. But, you know, they like to mess with us so that what we think is going on is not what's actually going on.
Well,
and I would not be I would not be surprised if they pull out some sort of twist for this.
Maybe some sort of twist, but
maybe
I
there's
can't
another
see
dragon
any way
involved.
to do it without Hrimmel.
Well, no, Hrimmel is definitely going to be in there, but I just don't know that Hrimmel is going to be the end boss.
Well, let's see. I don't know what other dragon could be possibly be involved.
I don't know either. I'm just saying that the way he phrased it, that he specifically said Hrimmel's involvement, made me think that there's something else going on and she might not be the end boss.
All right. Well, I suppose we'll find that out at some point. Cordovan had also released the Lotro event schedule for this year, going over what the events are from now all the way till December. Now, one of the things that you'll notice here is that the In Your Absence skirmish event is not scheduled for this year. That has been postponed also because they want to revisit it, because last year there were a lot of outcries relating to that.
Yeah.
So they want to look over that again before they return that event. So most likely that won't be this year, but will probably return in 2023. We'll see how that goes. And they said that they want to review reactions to the Geode boost event before they schedule any more of those in there. So they haven't decided yet whether or not there will be any more of those for this year. So if there are, some of them may be sprinkled in later on in the year once they have that feedback all sifted through.
Yeah.
I know Terry doesn't care.
I haven't even unlocked the things. I'm just glad Pineleaf has, so he can get them out of the way.
Terry, what if they wrapped each geode in a flower?
No, so
that's what they are. They're well, that's what they are effectively. They are
because you can't
mineral flowers.
Yeah, from what I understand, that they work the way the flowers do. So if you're in a group and you click on one, the stuff that's in it doesn't just go into your inventory. You have to like right click and select yes, I want it.
Yes,
which irritated the heck out of it irritated the crap out of me when we were questing in Athelion. So I'm really glad that somebody has got it unlocked so I don't have to do it. Because between Pineleaf taking care of those and Sans taking care of crafting nodes, it's way easier to run around and hit delete looking for the stuff that I can find on the delete key.
Yes.
So as we're running around, I'll be like, Pineleaf, here's some limestone. Pineleaf, get this granite.
Oh, that's why you keep on pointing it out to me.
Yes, that's why I'm pointing it out to you.
so I can get rid of it.
What did you think I was? Did you think it was just because I was being nice?
I don't know.
That's like Terry's being so
This
courteous.
might be possible.
There's something up then. Yeah, there's.
Because he actually goes, I don't need all of them. I'm like, no, you really do.
Okay. Let's then head into the Lotro Beacon. Lotro Beacon issue 232, where our headmaster this week is a scene from Glooming Tarn, where I'm hoping that our Nightfall group could get there someday.
So hopefully before February, that'd be nice.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Maybe we should see if we can schedule an extra day or two between now and then.
Maybe I've got time off coming up. I mean, I've got time off now, but I've the next 2 weeks. I've got Thursday, Friday off. Actually, I have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
That's nice.
Let's then head into our community spotlights. Winterstock 9 runs through Monday, so if you are interested in Winterstock and forgot about it and hear this before Monday is over, you could still catch some of that, and there is a link to the list in the beacon. Also, you can check out Little Redhead's 4-hour pre-Erebor housing overview on YouTube, as well as her 2-hour Erebor housing tour.
Wow, that's a lot of time developed on housing.
I suspect that she probably did that during one of her regular streams. I would expect. Fibro Jedi has created a guide to the Wildwood, and you can get all the info you need over on Fibro Jedi's blog.
Awesome.
And streamer Queen Perwethian and friends are organizing a charity stream, and you get more information on that effort over on Twitter. And links are, of course, in the beacon. Now for the Ken Hall. The Riders of the Dawn are a Crick Hollow-based kinship that has been around for years, but recently opened themselves up to anyone interested in helping them. The kinship has a Discord and more, and you read more about this Rank 10 kinship over on the Lotro forums. So here's our weekly comment. What is your favorite mount?
Moomox, obviously. The only downside is that so far it's only an NPC mount.
Well, I'm right there with you, Sans, because my favorite mount is a Swan Knight Steed, which is also still only an NPC mount. Although the anniversary horse from a couple of years ago came pretty close, it is not quite exactly the same.
Well, Krister?
I can't possibly answer that question. What is my favorite mount? The customized mounts that I've made for each of the costumes I've made for each of the outfit slots I have on my character. So, my favorite one out of the bunch, I would have to say, is I can't even tell you what elements I put together, but it's this golden, heavily armored war steed. It looks awesome.
All right.
In other words, it's a war steed.
A war steed. And I would thought if we told sort of Sans Window that she had to limit it to one that's only available for PCs, I'm sure she will say a light war steed. Unless, of course, she
that's
really
the fastest, but it's not available to all my characters either.
So if we're talking about NPC mounts, don't NPCs ride spiders?
Yeah, those are not my favorite. Though I would take one of the new bat mounts that I've seen some NPCs riding around on. That would be pretty cool, and I think my Hobbit would be the right size, and I could have a flying mount.
Don't hold your breath for that one.
But no, light war steeds are a lot of fun.
Yes. I wasn't sure if you would prefer the light one because they're fastest, or the mediums because they're less, because you can put up sacrifice and be less likely to knock down and.
No, I
Yeah, that's only
prefer.
because they haven't worked on the horses. That's the reason the medium is so appealing.
I
Is
absolutely
because
prefer the light steed. I just want my horse to actually have enough power to have more morale than me again.
Sans, if you prefer the light steed, then you don't understand anything about trample.
You know,
Trample is the most magical skill that they have ever given us, and everybody should use it all the time on everybody.
that is true. I like the speed of the light steed though. It's all about the speed.
With your dash, now I'm not saying that all the time, but more than likely with dash, if you're just conscientious about it, you can typically keep up with everybody, even on your big fat heavy steed.
Fair.
Unfortunately,
Not-
I'm just
nowadays,
saying,
in a
like,
on my light steed, I can toggle on dash and go dashing through
the snow.
the snow. Exactly. No, I can toggle on dash and go dashing through wherever. Except now
That's
I
true.
can't
That's
because my horse will instantly die if it encounters anything that gives off even a tiny little dot.
yeah.
But
Your light worsty deserves to. It's really embarrassing when my heavy worsty does the exact same thing.
I was just gonna say your heavy worsty does exactly the same thing. Don't even pull that, Krister. No, the medium one's the only one that you can really use in the higher level area.
Yeah, without a
Unfortunately.
doubt. Yeah. You just wish they could, if anything, if they're not going to fix them, just let us be able to trait that skill in every horse category.
Yeah, or just trait all the skills and we can pick our own combination of skills.
Yeah, there you go. Have them all
Toggleable
available.
dash
Yep.
and trample. I mean, that
Yeah.
sounds like the most epic
Oh,
horse.
I would never get off my horse. I would just build an apartment on top of the horse, and I'd just live there.
Wouldn't that be fun? We
Well,
should
if you
totally have this.
Yes, but the only mount
With
that's
sacrifice
large
if
enough.
necessary.
The only mount though that would be large enough to put an apartment on it would be a Moomock though.
Oh,
Well-
Moomock. Can you imagine a series of Moomock tenements rolling through Bree?
I really think they should give us Moomuck mounts and just make us dismount when entering a town. I'd be okay with this.
All right.
They
Now,
can make
as
you
for-
dismount from your hobby horse at random places. They could totally do that with a Moomuck.
This is true. She has a point.
Okay. All right. I'm surprised no one said anything about Thunderbores and all this, but but as for my favorite one has to be the Allegiance Goat from the Jaruka.
If that's the one I'm thinking of, I totally agree with you. It's one of the more beautiful looking goat mounts.
I know. And I'm someone who usually doesn't like goats.
I like falafel.
What?
That was implying I like eating goats, but I don't like.
Oh, okay. All right. Let us head to the Fansite news. The MMO Reporter is coming back to Lotro. You could read Chris's thoughts on the MMO Reporter blog. And Sip gets back to war, but finds it quite a bit easier the second time. You read his thoughts on the BioBreak blog. Lotro Stream is your first stop to find Lotro on Twitch. This week, Big Ed moves to Ethering B4, continues work on a plugin, and Eldaleth has an early birthday fun. And also on Twitch, Strimtom punches his problems, X Christie X gets the goat, and Positively Evil has a coffee stream. And over on YouTube, Carrick Avalon Gaming runs the water. It says the water in the water, but I presume it means the watcher in the water, perhaps. Windsprout heads into Angmar. And last week, we had a problem with Elrond.
Kind
Yeah, I'm
of.
not the only one that's bounced to check in Harwick now, so.
And our screenshot of the week of Nawin and her war steed Narya, pay homage to Metalsilt in this week's screenshot of the week. Thank you for emailing it in. You can submit your screenshot for consideration by emailing it to lotro@sunnystonegames.com.
And that is a beautiful picture.
And that's it for our beacon this week. So, Terry, what's on sale?
Let's see. The weekly coupon gets a free universal solvent with coupon code SOLVEDUNI now through January 20th, and also through the 20th, 20% off vault and shared storage, inventory slots, currency cap, and this weekend through the 17th gives us a 25% crafting XP boost. Woo!
Whee! Then let's head to our site news, where Andang has decided to finally resume his lore series, where he is talking about the parties tree. All right, and so here he has his. Let's see. He's talking all about the party tree, and let's. And that's a 2.5-minute section on the tree, video on the party tree. Also, Squirrel had his commentary on the Ember changes. I'm not going to go through that because
they decided not to do it.
Because they decided not to. They took one look at Squirrel's commentary and decided to ditch the entire thing.
No, I'm kind of sure it was all the backlash going on the forums.
Yeah, of course. Let's head into our weekend in gaming. And Krister, what were you up to?
Well, our Friday nights just got a little bit more exciting as more of our members seem to be returning, including our kin leader. So I'm kind of potentially seeing some raiding happening on the horizon, which is perfect because, like you were talking earlier, we were talking earlier about the raid being on Bull Roarer. I'm hoping that our group is going to be ready to go when that raid comes out, because that's going to be a lot of fun to do that one. And then it's just been, I have fallen into an ESO trap, and I'm loving every moment of it. And I've careened back and forth across multiple continents, saving kingdoms, fighting in civil wars, slaying dragons, destroying necromancers. And it's just been a blast. So I've been having a lot of fun in ESO. And then I finally got the final components of my endeavor to start painting miniatures again. So now I have everything I need, and I'm going to start producing them. So hopefully I can show you guys some pictures of how awful and rudimentary my skills are. Sans, what'd you get up to?
Well, I explored or investigated a troll cave on Tuesday night. That was pretty fun. And killed a bunch of things because Terry said not to run past any insects. And then it turns out she didn't really mean for the entire night. And then many
I meant the hive queen.
Oh, okay. Anyway, I killed all insects for a very good amount of time. And then on Wednesday night, I ran Assault on Durstrak with Maven and Nitesh, and that was a lot of fun. Took us a few tries with the double-headed troll, but we finally found a good strategy, and I learned that I definitely need some new potions. And I made a new Wood Elf Dragon Knight in ESO, and that's been pretty fun. Terry, what were you up to this week?
Well, I got to run around in Gundabad a little bit with Terry and company, and we really need to step up our game because we're still in the same opening area of Gundabad, and I really don't want to still be there next month.
We may have to ditch a couple of side quests.
Yeah, I feel really bad because we're still in everybody's like, "Have you been here?" No, we're still hanging in that same first place you get to we've been nowhere. We've been nowhere in good about. Well, we did investigate a troll cave. That was kind of cool. Part of the problem is that I start heading toward quest areas on the map, and Pineleaf's like, "That's not where we're supposed to go." So I stop and I look, and I'm like, "Yes, it is." And then he's like, "No, that goes through a camp." I'm like, "There's a road right here that goes to the side of that camp." And then we ended up running through the camp anyway. So
yeah, because that was a camp. Yeah, because I had always
full of
done that
hobgoblins.
quest
He's
from
like, "There's
the
hobgoblins." I'm like, "Hello." He keeps forgetting that he's running with 2 champions and a hunter.
location. Okay.
I mean, Calibathian's not here, but I can still say that Cassowary is still a slow champion compared to Terry, because 2-handed sword versus 2 weapons is going to be slower. But he looks really impressive because he'll come flying in, and he's a high elf, so he gets all those flourishes. So he comes like flying in and whacks the thing just as it drops, and it looks very cool. Anyway, he basically is running with a shredding team, so just stuff dies in our presence. We don't even worry about it. Yeah, and so then last night, I got out a hunter that I haven't played in a while for Academy, and we ran through Trollshaws overleveled, which is still my favorite way to do Trollshaws, is overleveled. I mean, Trollshaws isn't my favorite zone, but the best way to do it is overleveled, because then you can just pick off what you want to pick off, and you run past everything else. We also did some reminiscing on what Trollshaws used to be like, and for those who have not been in the game as long, Trollshaws used to be really super dangerous, because those trolls that wander the main road at night, those used to be elites, and they used to aggro on you. So if you were wandering around the Trollshaws at night, you were going to die. And that's why up until they changed that area, none of my ults got past 40, because I got to 40 and I hit the Trollshaws, and I was like, "Yep, nope, done. I'm going to make a new ult now." So the highest ult that I had up until they changed stuff around and I was finally able to move past that zone was 42. One of my Terriers got to 42. Now they just threaten, and they just kind of wander around looking dumb the way trolls do. But it's funny, because somebody asked me why I have this thing about killing trolls, and it's like, well, because they used to kill me all the time. So for payback, I now slaughter all of the trolls that I see. It's just a thing; they all die.
Yeah, I understand that.
And then I also have been playing lots and lots and lots of ESO. I finally belatedly got into crafting writs, mostly because I did one and realized that it's a lot of coin for very little effort. And I was like, oh, well, I could totally do this. So, yeah, because as you play, because I've got the plus, so as you play, all of the crafting stuff goes into this bag that you don't even see, so half the time I don't even know what's in there. And then I get a crafting writ and discover that the alchemy stuff that I'm supposed to have isn't in there. So alchemy is the only one I'm having some trouble with, because I have everything else. I have all the runes and ore and wood for days. Hides come off of everything.
I have a question, Terry. Have you automated it yet?
Automated the crafting writs?
Uh-huh.
No.
You can get an add-on that will let you run up to the crafting station and right-click on it, and it will do the rest for you.
What?
Welcome to Sansco Industrial Consulting.
I'll send you information. It's totally legit.
Does that mean you
don't even
have to go find a crafting station afterwards? Because that would be sweet.
Well, I mean, you still have to, run your character around and turn stuff in. You can't just, go AFK and let it do it.
No, but I mean...
It'll, remember what you're supposed to do and do exactly what you're supposed to do and put everything together the way it's supposed to be. Yeah.
I don't need I don't need a thing for that. Yet.
I'm just saying, it makes it take...
I'm still at low enough crafting levels that it's not asking me for anything complicated.
Oh no, it doesn't ask for anything complicated, but like you don't have to remember like it wanted one staff and one bow and
Oh, that shows up on my thingy.
okay. I'm just saying it'll do it all
It
for
could
you.
be part of my AUI thing. Is it pops up what I need in the crafting earth, so I can just. But yeah, I'm not having. Maybe later, I will take you up on that. But I'm actually kind of having fun figuring out what the heck I need. And again, my problem is that I don't have all of the alchemy components. Um, Fun fact that the keen so there's the thing you can put points into skills and get a keen eye so that your things glow on the landscape from further away so you know where to go for harvest nodes. And it works better at night than it does during the day because I was running my Nightblade around in Strauss Mackay today and realizing that I couldn't find stuff nearly as easily during the day in the desert than I can in the Blackwood at night in the middle of the swamp where that glow is really visible. So yeah, that was my week. Pineleaf, how about you?
All right, I'll begin with my Honor Warden, who headed into the Vales of Anduin now that they're no longer overleveled, or I should say flagged as being overleveled. So I went into there and started doing chores for Grimbeorn, as you know, and enjoying as Gandalf doubles whatever I have to do.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Stupid wizard.
Yes. Now, my brawler on Crick Hollow, who captured a very annoying orc in Moria. And on Friday Night Fights, we failed to complete the first wing of Alsta Dunholt. We thought, oh, we have 10 people. We could try a raid. So we decided, let's try this raid in here. And this is a raid that I have never successfully completed.
Mm-mm.
I think I don't think I've ever gotten past the first. I'm not too sure I could see called boss, but the first encounter, which is a bit of a long encounter because of the first challenge, I guess I'll call it then, is the first challenge. I think that's the way to put that. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, we tried to do it on what was that series that you guys did with Andang?
Alright, so that's where we tried.
Adventures.
Yeah, and on Adventure things, we did
It
try
went
that on.
spectacularly badly.
Yes, that is, which is what I remembered having is I had attempted it once before, and I noticed that I did not have the next wing unlocked yet, which tells you how the first one went. Yes, spectacularly badly, and that's what happened last night. Actually, we were starting to get the groove so that we were going from spectacularly bad, and I think we got all the way up to bad. So that's an improvement in there. So they're thinking that maybe next month we could see if we could get that done as the monthly raid to maybe we could finally get it all done. We'll have to see. After that, we went around in Gundabad to unlock all the 3 instances that are inside of Gundabad. Both the 3-player ones and the 6-player one. Then once that was done, it was getting late, so we had 3 left, and we ran the 2 small fellowship Gundabad instances. That would be the assault on Thurstroke and the Denapukak. So first we ran assault on there. That was my first time running it with 3 players because all my previous tries were done solo. And I found that I don't think there is a difference between the 1 and 3. I think the only difference is that you've got a dwarf helping you if you're in the solo version. I presume maybe also in the 2-player version. While in the 3-player one, the dwarf just looks like doesn't participate in the combat. She follows you around during early parts, but I think she waits at the end spot afterwards is what it looked like on that. And Sans, is that what it looked like to you?
It looked like what?
That the dwarf NPC while there wasn't actually doing anything in the 3-player version? Because you said you did it.
Yeah. No, I was trying to pull back my head because I was looking at the notes.
Right.
The dwarf, yeah, I mean, she talked to us a little bit.
Yeah, she talked to you a little bit. It had the interaction on there, but
there didn't seem to be anything else that
yeah,
the dwarf was doing.
yeah, she was essentially a quest giver NPC in that one, and
Did she do
if you're
stuff in the other ones?
no, in the solo version, she helps you because it's the enemies are exactly the same one. I mean, when I say exactly the same, I mean same. I mean, to me,
Okay,
it
so
looks
like
like
you need some help with it, and she'll help you.
you're right, because you're not going to be able to solo, because it's very, very tough to solo. So she helps you so that you'll be able to finish it solo.
Okay.
And she might have a slightly less boost probably in the 2-player version.
Okay, yeah, I hadn't tried it on solo or duo. So
Right.
I was like, the dwarf is as helpful as any other NPC.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
that's what I was going to say.
she's a lot more helpful in the solo version. Now, but you have to be careful of, though, is remember to summon her, because otherwise it is very hard to get through solo. And the other thing to note is that if you're not careful how you go through the area, she might get stuck. So you have to make sure that she is actually following you, especially before you go into a boss fight.
Ouch.
Fair.
Yeah. And the other thing I noticed on there is that when I was playing it with 3 players, it looked like that the giant fight and the 2-headed troll seemed to be a little bit tougher than it was when I was running it solo with the dwarves' help, while the bat seemed to be a lot easier than it was in solo, because in solo that was a very, very, very tough fight. But we just ripped through the bat boss in the 3-player version. Now, I did have two hunters with, I think it was 2 hunters with me. So 2 hunters and a ward, so maybe that's what helped us to really get through that quickly.
Well, we had a guardian and a runekeeper and a hunter. And we had way more trouble with the troll than we did with the bat. The bat only took the one try. First try, we got past.
Yeah.
The troll we had to reset a few times because puddles and ads and flying books and things like that.
I know what you mean on that. We actually had, because the 2 hunters got killed when we were running through there, and I managed to finish it off because it was near the end to it, so I managed to finish it off and survive it. So we didn't have to repeat the first boss. Now,
I think we would have made it, but we couldn't get the diseases off fast enough because my pots weren't working.
Oh yes, the diseases can be a bit of a pain sometimes. Yes, that is unfortunate.
Oh, that's what you were talking about earlier, Sins, about not having your potions sorted.
Yeah, they only remove diseases, fears, and stuff up to a level of 131 or something.
Yeah, that's
and
the
we're
most
running
annoying
it at like
time to find out.
Yeah, and I'm like hitting it and it's not going anywhere. I'm like, is this unpotable? No, like on my hunter, who's still traded blue lane because it's kind of fun, and is like half blue and half red right now, so she's got decent DPS. I have to stand completely still for several seconds while this animation plays so that I can take something off me. So I usually carry a bunch of potions that if I'm still kiting something like a boss, I can hit the potion and keep going. Yeah. But yeah, you have to have properly leveled ones Oops.
Yeah, I have potions that go up to 140, and I don't know where I got those from. I probably because I think it was a Kenny that had made them or something like that. So
Yeah,
those
I should be able to get
are
them
nice
pretty
to have.
easy. I just need to actually remember to do it because I was like, oh, well, these aren't too bad, and then realized like they're going to do absolutely nothing for me. Oops.
Yeah. Oops. So that's what we're doing on there. Then we done Pugrach. And that one is different for the between the 1-player version and the 3-player version, where it looks like the makeup and the power of the mobs is higher on. But since that one didn't have an NPC dwarf to help, then an NPC dwarf to help, I guess that's the reason why they chose to vary that one based on the difficulty of the opponents that you're facing in there. And that one felt a lot tougher. A couple of the side encounters felt a lot tougher than they were in solo. Though in one of them, I think the only reason why you felt it is because I got punted over an edge in order to. And once the warden was down, you can imagine what happened to the hunters.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the hunters did survive it. Actually, now I remember, one of the hunters did survive that one and went back to the main encounter, but it was back to the main encounter without the support of the other 2 members of the party. So
Yeah, that can
Ouch.
be ouchy.
yeah, that was ouchy on that. But we did eventually finish that one, and that's how we finished up on there. So I had a lot of fun with being able to finally try those instances with 3 instead of having to be with only on the solo mode. I also had finally a chance. I think I mentioned this in the earlier, where I finally had a chance of running the Houses of Rest in solo mode and finally being able to finish that one. So let's head into our news beyond Lotro, where we have an announcement from Thames and Cosmos, who have announced Exit Lord of the Rings Shadows over Middle-earth. Exit is a series of games that act as escape rooms, essentially. So in this case, it is being able to escape. I presume that you are trapped somewhere, probably Mordor or something like that, and you've got to get out without getting killed. And it looks like this is listed as a level 2 difficulty exit game. Now, one thing to note about Exit Game is that it is a cooperative game, A, and B, because of the nature of escape rooms, the components are going to be. You're going to mess with the components while you're playing it. So it's not something that you could have repeat plays with. First of all, you have since it's a puzzle type game, repeat plays would be difficult in any case. The idea there is that you'll be doing all sorts of stuff usually with the components, most likely, and thus what you have then left is the experience, and not something for repeat plays or anything like that. So that is Exit Lord of the Rings. And also we have Darren Loremaster, who has another one of his poems, The Death of Denethor II, as related by Baragon. And you can see that over at the site because this is this is long. uh, Our top supporter this month is LotroBuild.com. LotroBuild.com is a collection of full Lotro databases that includes an items database, a relics database, and a titles database. And also, you can use it right from your Discord server with a LotroBuild bot. We currently have 14 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to join this illustrious raid of players and help support Lotro players, you can go to the donations page. You can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. Your money will be used for our podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. We did not receive any emails this week, but since when you can send it to Podcast at LotroPlayers.com. You can also follow us at Twitter. The Players Alliance at Players Alliance at Players Ally, Lotro Players at Lotro Players, Arendis at Arendis, Pineleaf at Pineleaf Needle, Senswinda at Senswinda, Terry Edwin at Terry Edwin, Guarendis at Guarendis, Calibathian at Calibathian, and there is no Krister, only ESO. The Players Alliance has 2 shows. On Wednesdays at 7 p.m. UC Eastern Time, we have DDO Players News, but that is always subject to change depending on direct availability. And on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. UC Eastern Time, we have Lotro Players News. You can choose our shows at lotroplayers.com/live. And that is all for tonight. And this is Pipe Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.